Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex Datejust 31 in steel and white gold reference 278274 with a pink diamond dial. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history of the Datejust, then tell you about where this watch stands in the lineup of other Datejusts, then talk to you about the bezel dial case bracelet movement, try it on, and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. The Datejust is Rolex's most iconic, longest standing line, and most popular. It brings them the most money. It's pretty much their flagship model. And as such, they make the Datejust in like between 500 and 1,000 variations. And rightfully so, because it's a beautiful watch. It's what people think of when they think of a Rolex. And it's beautiful. Now, it got its origins when Rolex made the first waterproof watch, and they called it an Oyster because presumably an oyster, it has this beauty inside. Once it's closed shut, it doesn't allow water into it, and they use that name as to describe their Datejust, which is waterproof. At the time, like 100 years ago, having a waterproof watch was a big deal. Most watches were not waterproof, and Rolex was able to put a screw-down case back so that no water could enter into the watch. In fact, they even had one of their first Datejusts subject to that claim of waterproofness being worn on a woman who had swam the English Channel, wearing as you could imagine, a Datejust Oyster. Okay, that's a little bit about the history. Now let's talk about where this watch stands in the lineup of other Datejusts. Now, Rolex is making Datejust for ladies in size 28, 31, and 36 millimeter. For men, it's 36 and 41. So this watch being Datejust 31 lands right in the middle of that. It's a mid-size. Now, the Datejust 28 is for those who have a small wrist. I would suggest under 6 inches in circumference. And for those who have a wrist size between 6 and 6.75, they can go with this Datejust 31. And those who have a larger than that wrist size, they could go with the Datejust 36. Now, Datejust 31, as you could imagine, is size medium, so it is the most popular of the ladies' Datejusts. And as such, they make a lot of variations of it, tons, in different bezel, dial, bracelet, every kind of combination you can think of. What you're looking at here is sort of the mid-pack of in terms of expensiveness. The Datejust is made with the most basic model, which is just steel. Then they make it with steel and white gold, which is what you see here. And then they make steel and rose gold or yellow gold, and that would be the top of the line Datejust. Actually, I take it back. They also make the Datejust 31 in precious metals. Okay? Okay. But so actually, I would have to say that the steel and white gold is not exactly the entry level, but it's one step above the entry level. Okay, that's where this watch stands in the lineup. Okay, now let's go ahead and start talking about the case. The case itself, as I said, is 31 millimeters, and that's from my thumb to my index finger, the longest distance across the bezel, 31 millimeters. It's actually a very good size. And if you turn it on its side to see the side profile, you'll see that it's about 11 millimeters, which is not too thick, not too thin. I consider this the standard benchmark of where a watch proportion should be, Datejust 31 being the perfect mid-size watch, if you ask me. And also, the profile is the perfect thickness. You don't want to watch too thick, you don't want to watch too thin, because it's got to be proportional. So having an ultra thin watch is not good, and having an ultra thick watch is not good. And I believe that Rolex, being the king of watches, there's hardly disputing that they made the perfect size Datejust, and they make millions of watches, so they've got it really right. Okay, there you have it. That's the case, and the case itself is made of stainless steel. It's the best grade of stainless steel, by the way. It's 904L steel, which is a grade of steel that has very anti-corrosive properties and maintains its luster and beauty even throughout multiple polishes or throughout the life of the watch, which might even exceed your life or mine because the steel is so well made. A lot of companies do not actually use 904L steel because it's so difficult to work with. It's so hard. Rolex does. Many other companies, including even Patek Philippe, use 316L steel, which is a lower grade of steel, surprisingly enough. Okay, at any rate, let's move on to the bezel here. Now, the bezel is the iconic fluted bezel. Now, this fluted bezel came about 100 years ago, and it was used to help ensure the waterproofness of the watch by screwing the bezel onto the case, thereby ensuring the waterproofness. That is not the case anymore. It serves a aesthetic function, and as you can see, it's a very good aesthetic function. I would say that this is the Rolex signature, and it's the most iconic, most recognizable part of any Rolex. Maybe beside that of the crown, of course. But if anybody had taken a look at this one time, even in their life, and had known it was a Rolex, most likely they would not forget this. So it is it is the signature of the Rolex. Okay, that's the bezel. Now they do make the bezel in other configurations with diamond bezel, with scattered bezel, with dome bezel, but I believe that the fluted bezel, being the most iconic, is the best bezel, and I really just think it's the best. Okay, now let's move on to the dial here. Now the dial is also what makes this watch quite special, and it actually makes this watch, at least as of the moment, trade above retail. Now, as you can see, it's pink. Now, what's so special about pink dial? Well, one, it's pink. It's a very good ladies color, but it's not like a terrible, neon pink. It's a very beautiful light pink, a pastel pink with a sunray finish that allows delicate light reflections, and it's obtained by using masterful brushing techniques that create grooves running outward from the center of the dial, so that when you put it on your wrist, and depending on the position of your wrist, it can create a subtle glow depending on the position of the wrist. Now, how they complete this is the dial color, pink, is applied using a physical vapor deposition. Never mind what that is. It's a PVD, okay? Or electroplating, which also doesn't really matter what that technique is. They apply the color, basically. And then they give it a varnish by a light coat of varnish to give it its final look. Basically, what it means is that Rolex does a really good job making the dial. And then on top of making it pink, which is a very beautiful color, and it's actually, I would say, pink, I wouldn't say it's exclusive to women, but it's very close to exclusive. Like a man could wear a pink shirt, or at least a very light pink shirt, for example, but it's not as common for men. It's much more of a woman's color. Not exclusively, but much more. And so they put that on the watch, making it very feminine. And then on top of that, they add these beautiful diamonds, which, by the way, are flawless diamonds, natural, and they just use the absolute best, and they're set by the best gem setters that you can find. And what do you get as a result? You get this watch, which has a beautiful dial. It has all the hallmarks of being a classic Rolex, and there you have it. Okay, now let's move on to the bracelet. Now the bracelet comes in two options. You can either put it on a Jubilee or the Oyster. Now the Jubilee is my favorite of the two. Why? Because it is more supple, the links are smaller, and it makes it more form-fitting to the wrist, and it looks more iconic Rolex. Now, the Oyster is a great bracelet as well, but the Jubilee is the one that most people can see and recognize. So you have those two things, the instantly recognizable bracelet along with the instantly recognizable bezel, making this one of the top Rolexes that you can buy. And also, by the way, at a not breakneck price, a reasonable price. And by the way, if you want to buy it, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com. Now, this being a 31 millimeter, it does not have a comfort extension, meaning you cannot extend or contract the bracelet by 5 millimeters, which you can do on a larger watch, 36 millimeter, but not on this one. That's just how they do it. Why, I'm not sure, but hopefully they figure that out. Okay, let's move on to the movement here. Now the movement is a upgraded 2236 caliber movement. The old movement was a 2235. This one is better in the sense that it has a longer power reserve, it's a little bit more precise, and it has a nicer finish on it. Although you can't see it, but you can trust me that it does have a nicer finish. Okay, that is the movement. So now time to try it on. Now I'm obviously a man, this is a woman's watch, but you can see how it looks on my wrist. Now I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and I think it's too small for me. I believe you need to have a wrist size between 6 and 6.75 to wear this watch comfortably. And if you don't, then you probably should get a smaller watch, a 28 or a 36 if you have a larger wrist. At any rate, what do I like about this watch? Well, one, I love that it has all the iconic parts that make it a Rolex, which is the fluted bezel and the Jubilee. Those are a must in my opinion. And then it has the durability of steel. I like steel because it makes the watch wearable for an everyday purpose. You can continue wearing it all the time. It looks absolutely beautiful, and you don't have to worry about it stretching or getting beat up because it's made out of a very hard material. Okay, and I also like pink. It adds a feminine flavor or twist to the watch as opposed to just a basic dial like black, white, silver. So I really like that. Okay, now if you want to purchase this watch, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.